Alrighty. DTN Living Life. Tex Nolan. Dawn, she's back there. She's out of the way, behind the camera. Okay. Update. Financial. Money. What did we do in January? Yes, I'm going to refer to my notes. I'm an old man. I don't remember things. However, let's see. January. It was not a good month, but it wasn't a bad month. We took home $2,800 was our profit that we took home. However, we spent some of that while we were out, so we really didn't take $2,800. But in either case, that's about where we sat at. I took 4 units out. Dawn took 2 units out. Driving from yard to dealer, I drove 11 days. Dawn drove 7 days. Now, out of her 7 days were joint with me on those 11 days. So, in other words, we took 2 units at the same time to the same direction, maybe even to the same yard. Or to the same dealer. So, that's where we combine a lot of our work. My units, total income, $3,200. Dawn's units were $1,400. Now, our total miles driven, mine was 2,557. Dawn was 1,478. If you do the calculations, mine worked out to about $1.16 a mile. There was a couple of my units that were $1.20 a mile on the paperwork, so therefore that's the reason why it's up a little bit higher than what some people are saying they're $1.03 or 95 cents. Dawn's units were 95 cents. Her breakdown comes up to 95 cents a mile. So 1,478 miles for Dawn. If you take our totals, which was the $3,200 and the $1,400, and that'll give you $4,600 that we grossed for the month of January. And like I said, we only drove out 11 days. Okay? So take consideration, that's for 11 days worth of work, $4,600. All right? Now, our drive out took longer than our drive back. Okay? So therefore we drove a little bit faster because we're in the car, and we didn't go sightsee, didn't go explore, things like that. So that's where the difference is at. However, the fuel, we calculated the fuel coming back along with the fuel that we used in the units going out. So we spent a total of $1,800 in fuel. That's what makes it to where we made $2,800. Take $4,600 minus $1,800, you come up to $4,600. Take $4,600 minus the $1,800, and you come up to $2,800. Okay. If you was to break that down, $2,800 to the total mileage, which was 4,135, you're going to come out to about 67 cents a mile was our take home. So no matter how much was on the paperwork, our take home was 67 cents a mile, which is not bad. I know the national average is sitting up there about 75 cents to 85 cents. So we're just a little under that. So there's what we've done for the month of January. We didn't take out that many. We only took out 6 units. 4 units is total that we took out, or 4 trips is total that we went out, because her unit went with my units. So therefore it was teamed. The breakdown on it, if you was to figure the 4,135 miles, 18 days, it meant that we only drove 230 miles each day. Now, that's not much. That's not nearly enough for you to make an income. But what you guys calculate happens to be is that my days counting of us going out are also the days of loading and the days of drop-off. So many of our drop-offs always happen the following morning. We get to our destination and we wait until the following morning. Um, Being a person that's been on the receiving end of having to check things in before and a job, I never liked starting a check-in at freaking 4 o'clock in the afternoon, knowing that this check-in is going to get done before 5 o'clock for that driver, but my paperwork's going to have to take me until 5:15, 5:30, pushing me at the limit. So therefore, I don't do that to somebody else. That's the reason why I'm set the way I am, to say, if we're going to get there, no, close to 4 o'clock, we'll wait until the following morning and make that delivery. So you see, our day is partial driven, and then the next day counts as a driving day, because we usually sit somewhere an hour to 2 hours away before we go to make that delivery. So we don't show up at their first doorstep sometimes. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Most of the places that we like to stop at and sleep at are places that's off the road, so therefore, like a Cracker Barrel that's got a nice back area away from the highway, or no, a park or something to that effect that's away from the highway. So hence, that's the reason why we could probably stop at the truck stop that's no more than a block away from the dealer, but that's just too close, and the truck stop's way too noisy. So it's not really too close, it's just way too noisy. So that's how we do things. But that gives you the numbers on what January was. Could we have done more? Yes, we could have. Did we push to do more? No, we didn't. It's a slow month in the first place. It's been slow. Actually, driveway's been really slow. I did that one towaway. That's also in that calculations. So let's look at something. Let's do some comparison to what it would be if I was driving a truck. Okay, at 67 cents a mile between both of us. If I needed to make that driving a truck, no, that means I would be taking out a unit. Let's see here. Where was that at? I wrote it down here somewhere. Daggone it. Apparently I didn't get it to the right spot. But in either case, it came up to $1.50, $1.60 or something like that, equals up to close to 67 cents. So that's about the average cost of what the low rate is on towaway. So I would make the same amount if I went and did towaway and drove for somebody else's truck as doing this. Now, if I drove my own truck, then you have to add the cost of the truck, which is usually somewhere around 40 cents a mile. Okay? And I say around 40 cents a mile because 40 cents is the lowest amount. It can go up as high as 50 cents a mile. But to do that, if you was to add that to that 67 cents, that means that I'd be driving units that are $1.75 or more. Okay? And that equals up to the same amount. So $1.75 or more, which there's quite a few units on there, and there's a lot of units that are on there that's even more than that. But the other calculation happens to be that you got to add in there is your return routes, your reloads. At Horizon, there are more reloads, and there's another board that they can look at. I know a lot of people call it the silent board and so forth, or the secret board. It's not a secret board. It's a commercial board, and anybody can sign up to it. But if you go and tell your dispatcher that you see something on this board, they can literally go to that board and put a bid in for it. Now remember, when they do that, they're taking 20% of it. So it may say it's paying $1.20, and they're taking 20%. So 20% of $1.20 is going to be leaving you at like 90 cents, 94, 96 cents, something like that. So take note. That is something that you have to calculate. I would be doing that if I was driving somebody else's truck, and that means that I would only get 30% of that 95 cents, which means that I would only get 27 cents a mile or so. So no, it would not be really profitable, but it would pay for the trip back. Okay, and yes, that's one of the benefits of it. It would help cover the cost of going back. Now, sometimes they don't go straight back to Indiana, you may end up taking, if you made a delivery out to Mesa, Arizona, and then you find out they've got one pickup in Colorado that's going over towards Florida. Well, that's not going back to Indiana, but you would still make money, and then you could pick up another reload that's coming out of Florida, going up to Virginia or something to that effect, and get you covers cost. So there's ways to make money there, no matter which way you look at it. Okay, and it will make a profit. Will it make as much as you want? Probably not. But there are other ways of doing that. So, and your reload boards that is on Horizon has things going anywhere from 95 cents I've seen all the way up to $2 and some change. I don't remember how much that change was, but anyway, it goes over $2. So you could definitely, and that is all of yours. That's not a 20% on that one, because that is the Horizon board. Okay, so that's where I will throw this out there. Just to give you an average on something else here, somebody made a comment about us driving, and the factor that we don't drive that many miles in a day. That is correct. Medication time. We don't drive a lot of miles in a day because we're not pushing it. Okay. Now, we're not pushing it because we're teamed together, and anytime you put two people together driving two different vehicles, then you've got to cater to one of you is going to drive faster than the other. Okay, no matter how you look at it, one of you's going to drive faster, but you got to cater to the one that drives slower, and the slower one's going to cater to the one that drives faster. So you're going to be in a medium area that where's no. You may be driving a little bit faster than what the slower person would be, but you're definitely going to be driving slower than what the faster person would be. So that's where you have to do your calculations. Yes, if you did my calculations on the individual jobs, you would see that I drive 400 to close to 500 miles in a day when I'm driving by myself. I have a different driving pattern than what my wife does. My wife would probably drive somewhere around 300 to 400. So that's hence reason why when we finish our days out, we're usually around 360 to 400. Okay, when we're together. So we're right there in that medium point. 360 to 420 is about our average, when we're together. And if you do the calculations and minus out the full day, the half days and things like that, it actually comes up to 413 miles. Okay, between 355 and 413 is what it came out to. If we took, and as I went back through and pulled out the days that were partial days, and through any drive that was 2 hours this morning, 2 hours that morning, 3 hours that morning, whatever it was, and then the days before that were, okay, so therefore you add all those up, yeah, it comes out completely different. Another, for instance, happens to be is the delivery that we're going on right now to Oregon. We have, whereas we're going to get to our destination probably on Sunday afternoon, but they're not going to be open. We can't make a delivery, so we're going to wait until Monday morning to make that delivery. Okay, if we get there on Saturday, which I don't foresee, if you was to do the calculations, we'll get there Saturday. But if you do the calculations with the weather on how it's looking, we won't get there until Sunday. And it could be even pushed until Monday if the weather's the way that everybody's talking about it, but we'll see. Okay? So that's the point of it, is you've got to throw all these other calculations in there. And we've been in that situation before, making the delivery to Mesa, Arizona. We had to pull over because we ran into wind scenarios above 40 miles an hour. We had steady winds above 25 miles an hour with wind gusts going, bless you, going 40 to 50 miles an hour. Bless you. Wife sneezing. So that's what you're looking at. Okay? She's staying out of the way of the camera. All right. Bless you again. So there's where you're looking at. There's the numbers. There's our January update. Hopefully that helps some of you guys do some calculations. Hopefully I threw some numbers out there for you to really do the calculations and see what it is. I know some people like to use the calculations and say this is how much I'm making per load. I look at it and say how much we're getting paid per mile. How much am I taking home per mile? Okay, so that's where I look at it. I don't look at what we made per load. I look at it, what was it per mile? And my goal to make per mile happens to be 70 cents a mile. Okay, that's my goal. The minimum that I know that we'll have to pull out of if we ever drop to this is going to be at 45 cents. If we get down to 45 cents a mile, we're going to have to stop because it's just not profitable for us to survive. We would have to work and make this a full-time job of 45, 55 hours a week, and that's not going to happen. So we're sitting right there in between. I'm happy with that. Alrighty. I can't think of anything else. Peace, love, and jelly beans, people. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Throw them in the comments. I'm sorry if I seem to be delayed on getting to some of them. But yes, drop me a comment there. Drop me a comment in my Facebook, Tex Nolan. I think it's Tex Nolan 64, but yet Tex Nolan. You can find me. Drop me private messages if you wish. I'm cool with that. Don't forget to hit the like button, dislike button, and like again. Subscribe, notifications bell. And as always, peace, love, and jelly beans. Y'all be safe out there.